Okay, good morning, everyone. Let's start our today's session. Okay, so in our last session, we have started about the particular forms, right? So in that, we have talked about the form tag, field set tag, legend tag, okay? And after that, we have talked about the input tag with the various, you can say, attributes, right? So today we are going to talk about the different types of inputs, right? So as we know that to use the input, right? Which type of input we want to design. So according to that, you have to provide the type, right? So here we are going to start first with the particular text box, right? So it's a primary necessity whenever you are going to design something like login form or feedback form, whatever, to take some input from the user, right? So text box allows the user to enter a single line text, right? So here you can see that this is the particular design of text box, right? So in this text box, you can only enter the particular inputs in a single line, okay? So here the default width of a text box is 20 characters. So it will only accommodate up to 20 characters, right? You can change it. Don't worry about that. So for that, you have to change the size is equal to 25, right? So here, if I want to draw something like this, if first of all, I want to display first name, then last name, and after that, I want to put the particular inputs, right? So text box. So for that, first of all, you have to take input tag. After that, you have to define the type attributes. And in type attribute, you have to define text, right? After that, as we discussed last, that you have to provide the unique name for each and every controls, right? So it's a F name, L name. So for naming convention, you have to follow some professional tips, right? So give always a meaningful name so you can understand whenever you are going to use these names in a JavaScript for background logic, right? So try to make a practice to give some professional names, right? Some meaningful names, you can say that. After that, we have a size attribute. So now instead of 20, it will accommodate up to 25 characters, right? So normally we are using text box. So in that, we don't expect a much longer input, right? So in that case only, you just go for the text box, right? So it's 25 up to 30, 50 characters are well enough to take some input in a text box. So if you, as we know that our particular HTML follows the particular, you can say controls or tags in a flow. So to make this particular text box in a new line, you just go for the BR tag, break line tag over here, right? So now you can understand how you can design the particular text box. So today what we are going to do, we are going to discuss all types of inputs and then we'll convert that particular inputs in a example form, right? So let's go for another type of inputs, that is a password box, right? So password box is a particular designed to take input in a password form. So password form means whenever you are entering something, so that will be displayed in some specific format, right? Like star, 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 whenever you are entering a password. So that kind of stuff, right? So password box are like a text box, except the characters in a password field are automatically masked. Mask means it is shown as the asterisk or a circle, right? So you are not able to see a particular text, right? So whenever you want to take input in a password form, you want to hide that from the user visibility, then you just go for the password tag. So how you can define that type? So type is equals to, you have to mention password, type is equals to, you have to mention password, right? And after that, same scenarios will be there. Name you have to provide. This is a username. This is a password. Okay. And you can design this kind of login page, right? To take some inputs, username and password, right? As our username is a text form. So here is it, you have to define type is equals to text. And below that, you have to define type is equals to password. Okay. Now, the next input type is a submit button, right? So as we know that we have already discussed submit button. So type is equals to submit, you have to write. Submit button is used to send form data to the server, right? So suppose if you have designed this kind of form, right? This is your username, this is your password, and here is your submit button, right? So whenever you are entering username, password, and then click on submit button, right? So when you click on a submit button, so that particular username and password will be sent to the server for matching purpose, where your particular PHP or any other logic is written, right? So after clicking, this particular data will be sent. So where it can be sent, right? So we have already discussed that in a form, we have a particular action attribute. So in an action attribute, suppose if I have login.php, this is my page, right? So this particular data will send to this login.php page automatically, right? So what is the purpose of submit button? Submit button is used to send a form data to the particular server, right? Now, here the value attribute changes the text displayed on a button, and that is default as a submit. So you have to provide like this. So instead of anything, you can write a submit button. So whatever text you are writing, so that will be displayed as a submit over here, right? So this is the use of submit button. Okay. Now let's go for the example. So here I have put one example, right? So in this example, you can just go that here input the type is equals to text, to take some text as an input, that is username, right? And after that, we are defining a type as a submit, and we are setting value is equals to submit, right? So after entering the data into this particular text box, and when you click on this submit button, that particular data will send to the browser, right? Where it is going to be sent, either it is a HTML form, some action.asp, or some index.php. Suppose if you are using .NET, ASP.NET, then it should be ASP. And if you are going for PHP, then it should be PHP. If you are going for Java, then it must be JSP. Right? So these are the server-side scripting languages. Server-side programming languages, you can say that. Okay? So this is the job of particular submit button. Okay. Now let's go for reset button. Right? So after submit button, we have a reset button. So what is the job of submit button? So submit button will send our data to the server. But what is the job of reset button? So reset button is used to clear all entries user entered into the form and reset form data to its default values, right? And value attribute change the text displayed on the button, that is reset. So here you can see the reset button we have. Suppose say for example, if I'm entering some data over here, username and password, Okay, so after submitting, that particular data goes to the server. But if I want to clear these particular fields, then I just need to click on a reset button. So what it will do, it will reset these particular things to default value. Suppose say if you are providing a hint over here, that is enter username or enter password. So in that particular format, it will be there, right? So what is the job of reset button? Reset button is used to clear out the particular forms detail, So here in this example, you can see that we have defined reset like this: type is equals to reset and value is equals to reset. Okay, so this is the particular example for reset button. So if you write this logic into your HTML body section, then it will display output like this. It will display output like this. Okay, so this is second type of button. First is a submit button, another one is the reset button. Now let's jump on to the another type, that is button, right? So when this particular thing is useful, so now submit, and we have submit. To submit the data, we have reset to clear the data, and now we have a button. Button is for specific logic. Now suppose say for example, it's a click event, and whenever I click on this particular button, then I want to display alert box. This is my alert box, right? So what I need to write, first of all, I need to provide input type is equals to button, right? And after that, you just need to go for on click. Okay, and in that particular on click, you have noticed that we have written a one particular logic. So here you can see that one logic is written, one event is, this is our event. Sorry guys, this is our event. This is our event, right? So whenever you are writing a JavaScript code, so at that time we are going for this button inputs. Okay, so now here what happens, right? Here you can define a function. Here you can define a function, right? So here we have used inbuilt alert function. So it's okay. That will be displayed like this. But suppose if I want to create a display function, and here is my logic, right, for the displaying. So whenever I click on this particular button, click me or show data button, suppose if I have, right? So in that case, what happens? That particular display function is going to be called, and this display function where I need to define, that I need to define in the JavaScript, right? So whenever we are going for event handling, so at that time you just go for button type, right? So this is the use of button. Okay, so we have three types of buttons. One is a submit button, reset button. So you don't need to change anything over here. It is specifically used for that. And in that, you have to define type is equals to this. But here you have noticed that we have button tag. And then we have type is equals to button, right? And when we need to use it, whenever we go for the particular event handling logics. Are we clear, guys? Is there any doubt in this? Three types of button. Anyone?
No, sir.
Okay, good. So let's go ahead. So we have discussed text box, password, submit button, reset button, and the button itself. Here, don't forget to use button tag whenever you go for a button type, right? Next important element is label. So label is very useful, right? And it is used to define a particular label for input elements, right? So here you can see that whenever you are putting the label, then it just display the text, whatever you are going to type, right? So however, it provides the usability improvement for a mouse users, or you can say because of if user clicks on a text within a label element, it toggles the control. So if someone asks you, then what is, suppose I am writing here username, okay, so that is also going to be displayed like this username. If I'm writing label, right, and then I am writing a username, right, then also it is going to be display the user output will be same for both of these. Then what is the difference between these two, right? So whenever you are clicking on this particular text, it does not mean anything, right? Whenever you are going to put some simple text, but whenever you are putting a label, right, and you attach attach that particular label using for attributes, then that particular text will be clickable, right? So that's why it is used to toggle the controls. It is used to toggle the controls, right? So here, how you can make it interactive? So using for attribute. So for attribute of the label tag should be equal to ID attribute of the related element to bind them together. This is very important line, right? So if you are going for a label tag, then you have to use two attributes. First is a for attribute and elements ID attribute. So both should be same. Then and then that particular element binds together, right? So a label can be bound to an element either by using for attribute or by placing element inside the label element. So these are the two ways. So first is using for attribute, you can bind elements together, or you can use label tag. So let's see the example, how it works. So here you can see that, guys. So first of all, we have input type radio. So we have a radio buttons, three radio buttons we have, right? So how you can define a radio buttons? So type is equals to radio, right? Okay. Now name we have defined. Here ID we are defining for radio. This is ID for radio. Remember this, it is a male. And value what we are providing, value is equal to male. So here you can see that this particular male radio button is created. Here we are using checked attribute. So by default, it is checked over here. If I want to make female checked, then I need to use checked attribute over here, right? But this is not our agenda. What is our main aim is, now we are putting this particular text as a male. We are putting that in between a label tag, right? And we are also using a for attribute. So what is happening over here? So whenever you are using the form for attribute male, it should be equal to ID. So for attribute value, it should be equal to ID value. Then and then your text is going to be clickable. Okay. So what is happening over here? you can see that whenever I'm clicking, if I'm not writing like this, then what will happen? Whenever I only click this radio button, then and then my particular thing is going to be clickable. But what I want to make all this particular text as a clickable text. Okay. So what is happening over here? Whenever I click on this text, then also I'm able to select this particular radio button value. Okay, right? So I hope you are going to be confused over here. So let me show you one example. Okay. Okay. This I think the screen is visible to everyone, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's see this example. So here I'm taking some choices, right? Which game would you like to play? Right. So for that, I have used radio button. So here you can see that type is equals to radio. And ID I have defined as a cricket, right? Here I'm putting cricket, two choices I'm giving, cricket and football. So for cricket, I'm defining for attribute, cricket. Here I'm defining for attribute football. That must be equal to ID, compulsory, right? Okay. So that is our thing. In this below code, I have not used any particular for attributes and ID attributes. So let's see the difference between these two. Okay, so this is my output, right? So what is happening over here, guys? First code, we have made our text as a clickable. So below code, if I'm going for, if I click on cricket, if I click on football, then you can see that particular selection is not going to make, right? But here in first case, if I click on a football, then it is selected. If I click on a cricket, then it is selected. In below, if I want to select a football, then compulsory, I have to select on a radio button. You can see compulsory, I have to click on a radio button. But in a first case, if I click even in on text, I am able to select both the way. You can also select the radio button. You can also click on a text and you can do the things, right? So this is the difference. Whenever you are attaching, whenever you are using a for with ID, and if you are not using for or ID. Are we clear with this, guys? So this is the example for label. So this way the label is useful. Okay, is there any doubt in this code, anyone, guys? Please.
No, sir.
Okay, so it is okay, right? So it is understood. Now let's jump onto the another tag, that is a text area. Okay, so what is the difference between text box and text area? So as we have discussed that text in a particular text box, yeah, okay, in a particular text box, you can just enter a thing inputs in a single line, right? But suppose if I want to take address from the user, right? So for that, single line is not sufficient. So I need a bigger space. So that is known as the text area. that is known as the text area. So if you want to enter a text in a multiple lines, then you have to go for text area. So it is commonly used in situation where you ask for info that may require multiple sentences, right? Now, you can control the dimension of a particular text area by using rows and calls, right? So what I want to do over here, I want to make my area as a multi-line. So how many rows and how many columns? So that will decide the width and height of the particular text area. Okay, so this many number of rows and this many number of columns I require. So according to that, your particular area is going to be designed. So row attribute specifies the visible number of lines, and calls attribute specifies the visible width of a text area, right? So if you go for a particular text area, then you have to additionally define two other attributes that are known as the rows and calls, So you can see over here, we have to define rows and calls over here. So as I have defined row equal to 5, you can see one row, second row, third row, fourth row, and fifth row is my blank, right? Similarly, your width is going to be defined like this, 30. Okay, so this is the use of text area. So when you go for text area, whenever you want a multi-line text, if you want, then you just go for the text area and with additionally rows and calls. Okay, now radio button we have already discussed. Let's again discuss it. Usually found in a group of options, right? Selecting one radio button, deselect the another one in the group, and each radio button within a group should have the same name and the different values, right? And another attribute we have check. So let's directly go to the example. So here you can see that input type is equals to radio. Now these particular radio buttons are same. So here you have to provide a same name to make it in a group. That's why whenever you select one, automatically other one is going to be deselected, right? So this, don't forget to put this. Name of all the radio buttons should be same, but value is different. So when this particular value, guys, useful, right? So whenever you are writing a JavaScript, right? Okay, suppose if I have selected a mail from the radio button and I want to display one alert box, right? That you checked mail. This kind of alert box I want to display. So how can I get that? Okay, mail is only selected. So at that time I need to write a JavaScript logic and I need to compare whether my selected text is a mail or not. So value at that time I'm going to compare, right? So that's why you have to write the value for a specific selection. But the name should be same to make it in a group. Okay, and checked attribute here by default, if you are not providing, then first one is going to be selected. If you don't want to make any of the selection, then unchecked you can use, but for the check you can go for the check. Okay, so that is all about the video button. Now another important input type is checkbox. So whenever you want a multiple selections, right? So at that time, checkbox is going to be used. Similarly over here, each checkbox within a group should have a same name, but the different values, right? So here you can see that we have three types of this: business, cash, and education. I want to select multiple choices, right? So for that, I need to make a name as a choice. Same name I need to go for, but value must be different. Checkbox 1, 2, 3, or any other you can see, right? So here it should be there. This is about the checkbox. Here checked is used, here checked is used. So you can see that instead of this, that must be business, right? So you can just go for these checkboxes whenever you have a multiple choice, right? Max more than one choice if you want to select. Okay. The next one is a list box. So what is the use of list box? List box is a one kind of drop down, right? So it's a drop down list with the choices indicated by options. So here you have to change the tag. So you have to use a select tag, and in that, to define the choices, you have option tag. This you have to remember, right? It includes a name attribute. By default, the first item in a drop down is a selected, obviously, right? So if this is a list of items, so this first item is going to be selected by default. To define pre-selected option, add selected attribute to the option. So here you have to go for the selected attribute instead of checked attributes. So checked attribute is also applicable in radio button and checkbox, but here you have to go for selected attributes. Okay, next thing. Change the number of list options visible by including size inside the select. Okay, so by default, there is only one item is going to be selected. If you want to select display more than one item, then you just need to define size attributes. Suppose I want to display 10 items in a first line, right? So that will be displayed like this. But if I'm not going to define any size attribute, then it will be displayed like this. Only one item at a time. Okay. Now use a multiple attributes to allow users to select more than one value. This is another important attribute, guys. So by default, you can only select one item. But suppose, as we did, by pressing Control button, I'm selecting more than one items. So if you want to provide that kind of facility, then you just go for the multiple attributes. So by holding Control key, you can select more than one attribute. So if you use multiple attribute, you should assign a different value for each of the value attributes in a option tag, right? So let's jump onto the particular example. It's a very simple example, guys. Here, first of all, you have to use select tag like this. In between select tag, you just go for options, right? So that particular options are there. So here you can see by default, only one item is going to be displayed. If I want to display all three items, then I need to provide size equal to 3. Then all the three items are going to be displayed. That's a BMW, Mercedes, and Audi, right? Okay. Right now, currently, I can select only one item, BMW. If I want to select BMW and Audi, right? Then I just need to go for multiple is equals to true. Okay, so this is all about the particular list box. So this is again one important attribute that is going to use frequently. Here you can see I have provided size equal to 3 and I have provided multiple. By default equal to, you can write multiple or multiple true, whatsoever, but normally we are writing a single attribute, that is multiple. Okay, so in this particular example, size and multiple attributes are used. So what you can do, by holding down a control, you can say button, you can select multiple items. You can select multiple items, right? So this is the particular list box control. This is very useful control whenever you designing the forms, right? So you will get more idea when you practice it by your own. Okay, right? So these are the very common controls up till now we have used in HTML, right? So in older versions of the particular HTML, these are the attributes are always there, right? Some of the new attributes are added in HTML5, so that we will discuss in our next session.